Hey, you clicked on my video. Appreciate it. Now be sure to like the video and subscribe to the page. Kayshon Boutte has announced that he's coming back to LSU. You know what the first thing I thought of when I heard this news? Well, actually two things. Number one, thank your personal injury attorney. But number two, the main thing I thought of was Brian Kelly. I thought of Brian Kelly. See, one of the hardest things to do is change yourself. But yet you can control what you think. You can control what you say. You can control what you physically do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. And yet, despite that, most people can't even change themselves. It's still hard. But you know what's even 10 times harder? Is changing other people outside of you. Because at the end of the day, you have no real control over them. You can't really make anybody do anything. You can't force anybody to do something outside of holding a gun to their head. That's why coaching is one of the hardest things to do, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for things outside of your control. And that's changing other people. But that's why you go pay $100 million for the winningest active coach in college football to do the hardest thing probably in the world, change other people. See, a lot of coaches can draw up schemes, some better than others. A lot of coaches can manage the game, some better than others. A lot of coaches can sell the living room in the recruiting trail. A lot of coaches can win the press conference. Cool. Can you change people? Can you be a leader of men? Can you inspire people? That's what Steve Jobs could do with his employees. That's what our greatest presidents could do. That's what our greatest coaches can do. Can you inspire people? See, when I read Kayshon Boutte's announcement to return to LSU, it sounds like a dude who's inspired. He says, quote, "My growth under the new staff has helped me reach new goals. That's why I believe I can accomplish things going forward." He says, "I believe in the coaches, the strength staff, the nutrition staff, the training staff." When I hear what Brian Kelly said about Kayshon Boutte back in March was, well, I know his first and last name. That's about it. What the hell happened? Brian Kelly's what happened. See, I was never concerned about Kayshon Boutte's commitment, ever. Because the problem is that we focus too much on the star players. Well, guess what? Kayshon Boutte wasn't the only one. There were other players on the team struggling with doing things differently under Brian Kelly. We didn't really ask Brian Kelly about those players. Why? Because they're not Kayshon Boutte. It's like, okay, Kayshon will get it right. Just because he didn't get it right the first time doesn't mean that he never will. I also understood Kayshon's frustration with the offense and his performance earlier in the season. I kind of felt sorry for him. Now, I got a lot of pushback from LSU fans saying, why are you feeling sorry for Kayshon Boutte? Everyone seems frustrated. You're just focusing on him. Brian Kelly was frustrated on the sidelines. Jaden Daniels was frustrated on the sidelines. All the other wide receivers were frustrated. Muffing punts, dropping passes. They weren't the only ones. Now, I get it. If you're going to wear the number 7, you got to handle the smoke that comes with it. And you got to be held to a higher standard. That part I get. But look, I'm not asking Kayshon to be a robot. I'm not. Because if he was a robot, then anyone can do what Brian Kelly does. Yeah, just learn the password, turn the on and off button. That's not how people work. That's not how men work. Brian Kelly's a leader of men. Getting people to buy in and change habits. Hardest thing to do. Even if that means turning down more money and taking a risk for another year of college football. Gets guys to buy into you. You know who else does that? Nick Saban. See, I was thinking about this the other night as soon as that news broke. How many times over the years have we heard, how the hell does Saban get these players to stay put for another season and come back? They should be going to the draft. How are all these fringe first-round juniors, second-round juniors coming back for their senior year every single time? How? Well, I could give you one answer, but we'll save that kind of talk for the barber shop. Another reason is what he sells them on from day one. You don't start recruiting guys to stay as soon as it's decision time for them to leave after their third season. You recruit guys by giving them a reason to stay as soon as they step on campus freshman year. The culture, the relationships, the coaching, the education, college lifestyle, the process of being at LSU. You want them to stay? Cool. Give them more than just money. Now, look, speaking of money, I don't know how much Kayshon Boutte is making in NIL deals, all right? I don't. I can't give you an exact number. One, because it's the law and we can't know. But I can't imagine, that it's more than the money he would have made as a second or third round pick, which, according to my research, that's what Kayshon Boutte fell to this season. He lost his first round money. He would have been at best a second rounder, at worst a third rounder. But if he was a day 2 pick at second or third round, second rounders make it around 1.5 mil. Third rounders make around $850K. Now, Kayshon has a kid. And I was almost certain Kayshon would go because of the pressure that you have as a new father. And I was almost certain that even if he had dropped to the third round, I was almost certain that Kayshon would go the Derek Stingley Jr. route and ball out at the Combine and Pro Day and work his way up to not a first rounder, but a second rounder. Having a kid puts that kind of pressure on you. 1.5 mil, it's a lot of money plus all the NIL deals that you probably saved up. Now, Maybe I'm just being too sentimental right now. Maybe it's not about Brian Kelly. Nick, it's all about NIL. Maybe I'm not being cynical enough. But let's not bullshit ourselves. There was NIL under the table for players before there was ever NIL. Getting guys to try and stay for another year. And don't think your school was absolved from that either. It's always been the case. But at the end of the day, you pay someone like Brian Kelly for this to happen, to inspire people to change. See, look at Deion Sanders at Colorado. The Board of Regents at Colorado have agreed to change their transfer credits to get better players in the portal. Why? Because of Deion Sanders. Boosters who have never invested in Colorado football, or at least haven't in 20 years, are now donating. Why? Because you hired a coach that can change people. Not just players, everyone. You pay a coach like Brian Kelly to inspire boosters to get involved in NIL and keep Kayshon Boutte to stay. You pay a coach like Brian Kelly to inspire players to love being at LSU, so they are inspired to play more than just for money. So good for Kayshon. Now, selfishly, as an LSU fan, yeah, I'm happy because of what this means for LSU next season. I don't know what it means for the quarterback position. I don't. Let's not pretend like we do. But it pays to change people. And LSU hired the right coach to do that very thing. Thanks for listening to Out of My League. If you like what you heard, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Or follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok in the description link below.